Hello, good evening, and welcome to the analysis of Prime Cat 3. All of you who are here, I really hope you have come to the analysis after having taken the mock. ऐसे time pass करने के लिए कोई आया नहीं होगा, is what I am at least hoping. With me, I have Jijo over here, and GP sir will be joining within no time. So, what are your first comments? What are your first comments about the mocks? Please, about the mock. Please let us know in the comments over here. What do you feel? What is your first impression? Section wise, if you could break it down to BRC क्या था, DILR क्या था, QA क्या था, I think we will get a point to start with. Hi Ritam, JP sir.
Yeah, hi Ravi, how are you?
Hi, good
I
evening.
thought I
So
thought
right
you
away,
and
the first comment is DILR was tough. DILR was very lengthy, and
ये
this is
तो
not one
standard
comment,
feature है ना ये तो after cat also they will say the same thing.
right?
And if they have done the older papers, especially those who are repeaters, they would have found at least one set, if not more, which was similar to cat 19 or cat 20 papers. The
Absolutely
last set, the last set which was that contracts, that was
correct.
similar to an older cat data set. Okay.
Correct. So DILR one set was easy, is what Jashan is also saying. VARC was okay. VARC was doable, is what the general opinion is. QA was manageable again, is what we are getting. So okay. So without much ado, Jijo, let's get started with what we have in the analysis.
Sure, sure.
First, let me take you through the overall scenario of the mock. So this is the agenda for today. We are going to discuss how the paper was overall, how was the VARC section, and what happened in VARC section. What were the passages like? DILR, what were the questions like, and QA, what were the questions like? And I would particularly want to point out a couple of questions, if not more, in QA that a lot of you have actually missed out on. So okay, so total number of test takers is one question that we keep being pestered with every time, and we keep saying this that more total number of test takers is something that we'll announce in the live analysis session. So the test went live yesterday at 12, and till today, till this point, there are 1354 test takers, and it is only a number which is bound to grow. We are expecting this number to touch 2000 by tomorrow or day after, because actually in the analysis, actually in the uh, a schedule, the analysis was supposed to be on Tuesday, but we said because weekends are generally where the people are free and available, we said let us take it on this Sunday itself. So if you look at the overall scores and you compare it with CAT 2021, you'll see that there is a slight increase in terms of all the scores at all different percentiles, which would which would mean that Prime CAT 3 was comparatively easier than CAT 2021.
Ravi, it is possible that the students who have taken at this point of time are the most serious ones and
Correct.
better prepared. And it is possible some of them are repeaters, and hence this could be a higher number.
Right, because if you actually look at when I was looking at the data, sir, uh, if you look at the lower percentiles and lower scores, that is more or less similar. That will be available. I'll show you the scatter graph, and probably we will make more sense out of the scatter plot. So at lower percentiles, people who are typically unprepared or are looking at CAT for probably the first time would have scored a little lower, and people with a larger amount of familiarity, as GP sir is pointing out, would have scored better in this particular mock. Jijo, any comments on this?
Yeah, yeah. So I have nothing to add. I'm basically guessing that probably some section would have helped them this time around to get the score that they get. So it is probably more comparable with CAT 2020, I believe. Right.
Yes, more
And
comparable.
Ravi, I just want to just address this issue. Mohit Yadav says my last mock paper I am in minus in this mock improve my percentile in mocks. I know I would be repeating myself, but I'll keep repeating till CAT. Don't worry about percentile. Look at it. What is it? How many marks you could have scored and how many you scored? What are the easy questions you missed out? And so Mohit, that is the way you analyze the paper. Percentile is a meaningless number at this point of time when you are right at the beginning of the preparation and CAT is about 7-8 months away. At this point of time, all that you as an aspirant should focus on is, were there questions in English which I made silly mistakes? I know that's a very stupid term because a mistake has to be silly. Okay, so whatever you call it, did you make mistakes which were avoidable? To me, that's a better term. In DILR, which are the sets I should have attempted but I missed them, and which is the set I should not have attempted but I attempted and wasted a lot of time. And same thing in quant, which are the questions I should or should not have attempted, and which are the mistakes which were avoidable. So if you focus on this part, Mohit, you and all others will be able to improve your scores and hence your percentiles. Left to myself, I would not even talk about percentiles for the next 3 months. Yes, back to you,
Absolutely.
Ravi.
Absolutely, because in the last 1 week or so, I have also gotten quite a few queries about sectional percentiles. But there is no number of test takers available in the sectional test kind of stuff. I said, boss, at this point in time, the number of test takers will typically be low, only because, not because we ask not to take the test, we urge all of you to take the tests at regular intervals, but it's only that the students have probably this stigma in their mind कि boss मैं जब तक syllabus पूरा नहीं करूंगा तब तक test नहीं लूंगा, and that is what will probably end up hurting you in the long run. So be serious about the tests at this point in time. Don't focus on percentiles, focus on how much you can score. At the end of the day, it is the score that will convert or translate into a percentile, boss. So comparing percentile rank at this point, as you sir said, makes absolutely no sense. So this
And
is
Ravi, you
the
could just comment, Ravi or Jijo, you could comment on what Ayush is saying.
This
I think
mock
many
is totally
students feel this
scared
way.
out of. So first of all, I don't think that. I think we'll have to understand what is the purpose of taking mock test. It is not a reflection of anything. The purpose mock test is a preparation tool. So the first thing that is that getting scared, feeling sad, feeling happy is irrelevant according to me. What is relevant at this point in time is to look at two things. At my current level of preparation, wherever I am, did I give full justice to this paper? Could I solve all the questions that I should have solved? And what are the three, four areas that to me is urgent need of attention? What areas would probably take a little more time? Keep assessing that every single mock. Whether it ruined you, you're feeling scared, you're feeling bad about it, is completely irrelevant. So
in fact, Jijo, when you were recording, when you were interacting with one of our achievers the other day, you told me that, boss, this guy, it was the second attempt in CAT, and he thought in the paper that he messed up DILR, and because of that, he ended up messing with quantitative ability. Turns out he scored 99.7 or 99.5 kind of percentile in DILR, but because he had messed up quant with that mindset, he ended up nowhere last year. But this entire year, what he has done is, just focusing on how to make that mindset playable, how to make that mindset ready for the paper, and that is what is very very important.
Hmm.
You keep your
And
effort consistent, figure out what are your weaknesses, keep working on them, and then you'll typically keep doing better.
and Ayush and all others, this is what I'm looking at. What Neha has written, this is what I want you to look at. Every mock, can you improve your marks? Forget about the percentile. She's moved from 37 marks to 51 marks to 69 marks. What it converts into percentile is meaningless to me at this point of time. Every paper, if you can improve your marks by 2, 3, 5, 10, whatever, by the time you hit CAT, you will be 100 plus and your percentile also is going to be very good. So just focus there. Yes, Ravi, back to you.
Yeah. So if you look at the scatter plot for this, score versus percentile, scores on the y-axis and percentiles on the x-axis, you'll see that typically at higher scores, for a higher percentile, people required higher scores. But if you compare it with lower percentiles, and if you compare it with some other mocks, you'll find that 40 percentile was there at 20 marks only, 50 percentile was there at 25, 30 marks only, 60 percentile was there at this point, up to 80 percentile, which was at 60. If I'm not wrong, in CAT 2021, this was somewhere around 59, somewhere around 52, 53 marks. I think in the lower band, more or less the scores and percentiles reflected what you will probably get in CAT. But as we are saying, and we'll keep saying almost probably till the month of August, that do not do not bother about what is your percentile rank as of today. Think about what can be your scores. And if you look at the number of dots that are concentrated above the 80 percentile line, you can already see that there are in this. This looks like Pareto rule to me, sir. Most people who are prepared are getting higher, are at the higher end of that, and that is why you will see that kind of disparity and gaps in between them, in between the graph at this point.
Yeah,
Did you
that's
any
right, Ravi.
comment?
No, nothing to add. Nothing to add.
So that was the overall picture. So before we start with the VRC section analysis with the Gijo, anything you would want to add? I'll just add your PPT to the screen.
Yeah, so just add the PPT, then I'll start with that. So what I want to first talk about at this point in time is this is a comparison. This is RC. This is what happened in slot 1, slot 2, slot 3 last year. So, and then this is mock number 3 in terms of the design of the paper. So when you look at the CAT RC passages, the passage shows Smithsonian Magazine. There's a book that is picked up, Financial Times, Ion Essays, 3 articles, 1 book, one from natural sciences, couple from social sciences, one from humanities. I'm putting this broad topic, natural sciences, social humanities. The word length was about 500-ish. I'm sure that all of you are understand this because I keep using this term in terms of how dense the passage is. To treat that anything about 13 is kind of dense. Couple of passages dense. And that if you look at across the slot, TED Talk, this is about an article, a book, an article, another book, JSTUR, New Scientist, New York Times, New Scientist, journal, article, book, and then you have got social science, humanities, natural sciences, and this slot was around 500. I think last slot was slightly higher, and the slot number 3 had 3 passages, which is of high grade, right? And if you look at the questions, most of the questions were inference based ones, though in slot number 3 we had some global questions as well, right? So one thing that you see of CAT, I think when people say that it is an English section, to me it is a farce. It is not English. It is basically natural sciences, social sciences, humanities section. The passage, the problem, none of the question is asking something about English. None of the question asking, tell me what figure of speech is used here. All the question is asking, did you comprehend the passage that I gave you on subjects as diverse as it is? So if you understand the subjects, so you look at this natural sciences. If today you're uncomfortable in natural sciences, you're dead. So what reflected in this particular mock is that thing. So you've got GST or daily. One was taken from a journal. One was Scientific American. One was Aon Essays. 3 articles, one from journal, humanities, social sciences, natural science, social sciences. The words have been kept obviously very similar to this, though one passage is slightly lesser, but still very close to 500. One passage was dense, and other passages were sort of almost in the 12th grade. But what you would have found is, even though the passages was, let's say, dense, I think the topic was kind of easy to comprehend. It was not that difficult. The way the language that is used, at least in this particular mock, was not very difficult. So the question obviously had that mix. So what the design of this particular test was based on what you see in the CAT, though you might, for example, even let's say the article on jealousy, the last one was an article which was easy to understand, or Scientific American article easy to understand. So today, please do understand, if you are preparing for the CAT, and don't look at English as a section. It is not verbal ability. It's not reading comprehension. It is social sciences, humanities, and natural sciences. So if you are not comfortable today reading a social sciences passage or a natural sciences passage, how will you comprehend? So that is sort of the first part of it. When we get to this is paragraph jumble. Again, in paragraph jumble, the first slot one is Sources Science Daily, JSTOR. JSTOR is journal storage. The Caravan, couple from economics, to one journal from Madras Institute of Sciences, one from economics, the last slot, Oxford Journal, New York Times, article, journal. And then again, same thing, natural humanities, natural sciences, couple of humanities, one from natural sciences, one from natural, couple from humanities. And all the passages, but by and large, paragraph are taken from the middle paragraph. Couple of them are taken from the opening paragraph. And if you look at here, in the mock 3, what you see is that one from JST or Daily, one from Scientific American, one from an encyclopedia journal entry. So one was in humanities, natural sciences, social sciences, and all were picked from the middle paragraph. So This is paragraph jumble is another area that you can definitely get your scores. Even if you look at any of these the paragraph jumble questions from the cat across board, it was all crackable. It is just a myth that paragraph jumble is difficult to crack. Coming to paragraph summary, so this was I don't know what was the source for a couple of one paragraph. I could not find it. Again, you see the same mix. So I don't know. Slot 3 guy really loved Economist. I think it was Economist everywhere. And it says there was a book by Raghuram Rajan, one from Economist, Frontiers of Psychology, and Humanities, a couple of humanities, one social sciences, natural sciences, social humanities, social sciences. So this one was taken from articles from three diverse sort of sources. And the word is usually about 100ish. So though in this particular mock there was one which has about 200 words and one which was close to 200, otherwise in the cat you find usually very close to 100 words paragraph, but is then compensated with the level here in term in the, here one, but this one had a high sort of a grade, probably similar to what you see in slot number 3. When I move to odd sentence, so this was slot 1, slot 2, slot 3 in terms of what cat did. Again, we see economist. The third slot fellow really loved economist. The conversation, a journal from Harvard University, Scientific American, Open magazine, and then one book was picked up. And again, you look at the spread that is there in terms of genre that is asked. The couple of us humanities, well, I don't know where to put it. One was from Hindu. I think there was in 2019 a paragraph jumble question was picked from odd sentence question was picked from Hindu. Other one was Guardian. So what you see with respect to the design of this particular test, and this is going to be the design of every sort of single test that we create, will be uh, as close to cat in terms of design. The challenges that the test will give you will be different. And what you would have found in this particular with respect to reading comprehension is that at the end of the day, what makes a question difficult are the options. The options that were created, you could pick one. So it's not there were easy picks and easy ditches. You would have found if you invested time in a passage, you are getting marks. So that's that you can put the other slide, Ravi. Yeah, I think we'll get to PR section. So when I look at the score, I'm not surprised. You see, the people have kind of done better. So if this was a paper, you will look at a score like 45. I think if I look at the type of questions on the passage that you see here, it will probably be very comparable to what you will see in 2017 and 2018 kind of a cat. And the reason why you would have found this kind of a score is largely because of the fact that the options did not pain you much, right? So here, and plus, I'm also guessing that if more number of people take the test, maybe there'll be variation. Like GP said, these are all N2 people who have taken the test on 2 days. This is a prime mock. The mock is going to be available forever. More number of people take the test, maybe this will change. But I think it was quite possible to hit a score of 36. Anything about 36 would be pretty good for this particular mock. Yeah. Next slide. Again, so this is individually. If you look at questions, no, it had a decent mix. So you know this graph, the bar that you see here are the accuracy, and the area graph is the attempt. If I count the number of greens, which are the easy ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There were 10 greens, right? And then which is the easy ones. If a medium ones, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 medium ones, and we have got about the three very difficult one. So in terms of the mix of the paper, this will be probably very similar to CAT. But I think that lot many people who have taken the test have done well, partly largely because you see every single passage you had about 9 marks to pick. So you look at the first passage, one question was difficult. Second passage, two questions was easy. Third passage, all were moderate, but more than 50% sort of accuracy. Fourth passage, you had three. So if you commit to one passage, you could do. So the people who would have done well in this particular mock are the ones who have solved all the four. How many passages could you manage, including VH? Put the number. So how many passages could you looked at? You may not have solved all the questions. So I can see this. Hopefully the comment will get added somewhere. So I can see 4, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, lot of threes. Okay, a lot of threes. Okay, so the way in which I will look at this, I think this is one piece of advice that I want to give to all of you. Let's look at it this way, right? But tell me something to solve one question on an average. No, forget about passage. When I'm hitting a question, right? One question on an average, how many minutes do you take to solve one question? On an average, roughly. Let's say one question will take how many minutes for you on an average? Forget about passage. When you hit the question, when you start solving the question, one question will take how many minutes? 1 minute, right? Roughly one and a half minutes. 3 minutes will be too much. If you're spending average 3 minutes per question, that'll be very crazy, right? So
3 minutes. What's up?
I'm not about reading time. I'm just talking about solving one question. 2 minutes is too much of a time. So I think the reason why you guys are hitting an average of 2 minutes, 3 minutes is because you're getting stuck in questions. You're going back to the past and evaluating. Look at it this way: there are 4 passages, right? 500 words. Let me take a simple stuff that I will probably take about 3.5 minutes per passage, 150 words per minute. Let me even count 4 minutes per passage, right? Let me count. So if I read the 4 passages, that is 16 minutes for me. Let's assume that I'm allocating 28 minutes for RC and 12 minutes for VA. So reading, let's say it's about 15, 16 minutes. I still have 12 minutes to solve the questions, right? Now I will solve, if I decide to solve only those 12 questions, which is one minute questions or 15-second question, something that I can pick. I'm not going to waste time. Then that way I can look at all the 4 passages. The problem, I think what is happening for most of you who are missing out on stuff. How do you know which passage is going to be easy or tough? Because the easy or tough is going to be with the options. I cannot look at a passage and decide anything. For example, I don't know how many of you missed the last passage, jealousy. Anyone here? Give me a shout. Me. Last passage chhod diya main. Me. Anyone here? You missed solving jealousy. You picked up Ukraine car. You picked up you picked up electric eels, and then you kind of left jealousy. Anyone here? It was a mistake. I think you looked at that. No, so you have got pretty easy question. And most of the question can be very straightforward. It had the worst one. So the confusion between two options lead to more time. No, confusion between two options, Piyush, is not leading more time. You spending more time is leading more time. So eventually, so there are 2 things I would want you guys to look at. Number one, please understand CAT is a test of humanity, social sciences, and natural sciences. First, you have to build those. You have to read stuff. That is number one. Number two is that if you're just confused, just skip the question, move to the next one. Think about, I need to access all the questions. Me missing out on one passage is not asking the question, and I want to access all the question. I may leave questions, but I don't want to leave a chunk of 4 questions. That's something you have to kind of prepare eventually, unless of course you're very poor in reading. So you build those skills. You have to read the passage one and understand, right? And when it comes to these VA questions, I think that the paragraph summary, couple of them was deliberately, you had very cute traps. I don't know, a lot of you would have fell for some traps there. Paragraph jumble was crackable. 2 of the paragraph jumble was easily crackable. Odd sentence, 1 was okay, 1 was very painful. Paragraph summary questions, couple were crackable. And then you see that you probably can pick up about 5 questions. So there were, if I look at it, so there is you cannot, I think that you can't look at a passage called she and say, it looks tough. Anyone did that? Looking at a passage, you decided this is going to be tough. How does that make sense? That makes no sense. The difficulty level is based on the questions, and not even the questions. Some of you look at inference question and leave. I don't understand. It is everything in the options. So this particular mock test gave you an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. Gave you an opportunity to kind of handle the paper and expose you to a lot many things. In the coming mock, of course, you will have different challenges that is given, more challenges. So this is one such challenge. For eventually, if you want to get to the very very high percentile, if you are one of those people, let me leave by this 2 things: be a smarter test taker, and number 2 is that areas, natural sciences, social sciences, you should read. 2 guys. One is this thing called JSTOR daily. JSTOR daily. JSTOR daily. Journal storage daily. Journal storage is a site which has got a lot of journal. There is a website called JSTOR daily, and that is something that I would recommend you guys to kind of read. Number two is M1 essays. Ensure that you read. So how to comprehend quickly? You don't have to comprehend quickly. So you're for me taking a lot of time to comprehend. The reason why you're taking a lot of time to comprehend is because of the subject, no, not because of English. I'm sure that you guys can comprehend very difficult passage on cricket. Right. So there you go, Sanchit. I left questions which are taking more time. Help me read more RCs. Yes, you will improve that way. So don't. The more you start reading, things will be fine. So I think from there, I don't know from where you moved to 26. Sir, RC on Art of War Sun Tzu was mind blowing. I'm sure that you guys had fun reading the passages. I think. I think it was probably Electric Eel was a passage. I don't know how many of you looked at Electric Eel science passage, read two paragraph and went, I'm not going to do it. Anyone did that? Any natural science haters here? Put a me. All natural science from 10 to 26. Wonderful. Any natural science haters on the room? We can't hate anything. We are getting to so pretty good. Okay, there you go. So we'll come back with more number of challenges. More number of challenges coming mocks, and this one was a passage for your taking, and then you have you can do that. Okay, yeah, that's my take of this. Yeah, can move to DLR, I think.
So DILR, as the first impression said, the paper was tough. I think more or less you can also see over here that at every percentile the score corresponding to it as compared to CAT 2021 is probably lesser by 3 marks or 4 marks, 3 to 4 marks, 3 to 4 marks everywhere.
But here, one thing that we have to point out that these are the scale score. The CAT 2021 is a scale score. So
Exactly.
there might be some slots where a higher score would have fetched it, some slots where the lower score would have fetched it. So if it is a difference of 3 marks, I think it is as good as a CAT only,
Correct.
because in the sense of because it will fit into some sort of a slot. That's something I wanted to add. Okay.
Correct. So if you look at how slot 3 went in CAT 2021, there was one set which was almost probably impossible to be solved within the time frame of the question, time frame of the test, and everyone scores in slot 3 typically upscaled up by 2 marks or 3 marks. Slot 2 probably came a little down, and slot 1 again increased. So these are actually scaled scores and not actual raw scores. So at every score and at every percentile, the corresponding score, you can see that there is a change in there is a dip of probably one question. So we can say ki probably CAT 2021, if you compare Prime CAT 3 with CAT 2021, it was one question tougher. What's your impression of this, GP sir?
See, I always find that I'm among the outliers when it comes to the level of difficulty of the section. To me, the issue is did you pick up the right sets or not? Okay, and again, if you look at the last set of data, if you decided to attempt the last set of data, it will be a very difficult paper. If you decided to attempt the first two sets of data, it was an easy paper. So it is boiling down to saying what is it that you have done in the paper more than anything else. The second thing is once you have picked up, decided to do set number 1, 2, or even 3, were you willing to spend time to do the set or not? You pick up a set and within 6 minutes you say, no, it is not happening. Let me just quickly move on to the next one. The next one will also not happen. Okay. So to me, there are only two things as far as this paper is concerned. One, make sure you have picked up a set of data which you understand, and if that requires you to spend a minute, minute and a half, or 2 minutes per set, it is perfectly fine with me. Second, once you have decided you are going to do the set, don't rush through it. Go through the set in a sequential manner, read the statements carefully, make your table neatly, and then answer the questions. Obviously, you have to keep looking at the choices and the questions also, but you should be able to pick out which are the type of data sets which will help you, in which the question and the choices will be helpful. In this paper, unfortunately, there was none of the sets was such that the question or the choices could have been helpful. At least I did not find any. Okay. So to me, and the second part is when you say is it easy or difficult, I'll say by and large it is similar to CAT. Maybe, as you rightly said, maybe a question or two more difficult, but it is difficult or easy depending upon what you pick up. As you said, like if I look at last year's paper, slot one and slot two, both of them had two sets which were easy and doable in something like 10 minutes each, if not more, if not lesser. Okay? Two sets in slot one and slot two could have been done in 10 minutes each. So that means in 20-25 minutes you could have easily done two sets of in the paper, and third set in 15 minutes was again possible. So, but the scores don't suggest that. The scores don't suggest that. And the same thing is in this paper also. I would say people will look at the data set, say, boss, इसमें काम करना पड़ेगा, चलो कुछ और ढूंढते हैं. My bigger worry is, are you willing to invest time or not? Are you willing to put your pen on paper, make the tables, go through the process, go through the grind and get the answer? That is why I find many people lacking, that they don't have the patience. And I think what they need to definitely do is build patience to solve the set. Okay. Yeah, Ravi, back to you.
I think this point is very, very important. Be patient when you are solving the set and don't rush through that particular set, because many a time we keep getting queries कि sir मुझे एक set बनाने के लिए I am taking 15 minutes. How can I do it in 10 minutes? And my standard answer to that is, if you take 15 minutes, you take 15 minutes, boss. You can't finish a task faster,
And
right?
Ravi, end
With
of the
the
day,
time, consistent efforts, probably when you solve 4 or 5 similar sets going forward, it's only then that probably your time taken per set will fall.
yeah. And then Ravi, just look at the 95th percentile mark, CAT 20 as well as 21. It is 24 marks, 8 questions. Yeah, depending upon the slot, it could be 7 questions, 7.5, 8 or 9 questions. So I'll take on the ballpark, 8 questions gives you a 95 percentile. Why am I trying to rush to the paper? And there's not a one-off thing. Even if you go to the previous papers, okay, with the 2 hour papers, not the 2 hour, the 3 hour papers, you'll find a similar thing there. Okay, then in 1 hour, you needed to get something like 10 questions right to get 95 percentile, about 30 marks, 29, 30 marks. So in 40 minutes, eight questions, getting you a 95 percentile is perfectly fine with me. Again, the issue is, as I said, do you have the patience to go through the process or not? If you don't have the patience to go through the process, then whatever the paper might be, you're always going to mess it up.
So let's take a look at the how people fared in the various sets. I think I expected everyone to do set 1 and set 3 after having looked at the paper, and you know, as it shows, set 1 and set 3 are the sets which had highest attempt rates, at least. And because there were 2 easy questions in set 1 and 2 easy questions in set 3 as well. Surprisingly, the set 2 also had 1, 2, 3 doable questions, very easy doable questions, and I think people have missed out on set 2, the work wala P1 to P10, sir.
Yes, easily. That was an easy set again. To me, this was one of those sets where you have to make the table. Okay. Now I find the problem is many times people just don't want to put pen on paper. वो जुगाड़ एक लेवल तक चलता है, जहां जुगाड़ नहीं चलता वहां पेपर पे पेन डाल के टेबल बना के सॉल्व करना है. Okay, that is what was required as far as set 2 was concerned. Okay, and I thought it was an easy set, and I could go a step ahead and say it was almost like an arrangement data set or allocation data set. You keep putting up Sudoku kind of numbers in, or the alphabets in the relevant the slots, and you keep filling it up. Okay, it was a completely doable data set. And again, if you look at if like just opening the paper for myself, if you look at the questions also, you will find none of the questions either cannot be determined, none of these, or the if kind of question, which clearly told you this was a table that you will complete. You should be able to complete the table in the second set of data. But it seems that people were not very keen on the set. Okay. Okay. And I would have personally picked up set 2 for the simple reason, doable. Questions are 6 in number as compared to set 1 and 3, which are 4 questions each. So larger number of questions, no multiple cases likely in this particular set based on the questions. So it was a set which I would have picked up.
And I
Yeah,
think
Piyush.
set 4
Yeah.
is a unanimous decision of everyone.
yeah, वो देख के ही पता चल जाता है कहने लायक ही नहीं है. जो someone said, how do you decide not to do things like javelin? ये boss, जहां पे पेपर में ज्यादा दिमाग लगाने को बोलोगे मैं सेट छोड़ दूंगा. दिमाग पेपर के बाहर लगाया जाता है. पेपर में जो आता है वो करते हैं, दिमाग नहीं लगाना है. If you have to exercise your brains in the paper, it is not a data set which is worth attempting, because you will be able to get it right 1 in 6 times. I don't want that kind of a thing. In a paper, I want to do 6 out of 6. So I'll only pick up what I'm confident of.
In fact, if you look at set 4, one important learning from there is, if you compare set 2 and set 4, set 2 had 10 pointers, 9 or 10 pointers given after the initial setup, while set 4 had only 5 pointers given below the initial setup. However, each point within set 4, each point had 3 sub points. So it was actually 5 into 3, 15 pointers in set, 15 pointers for following the initial setup of the question in set 4. And that is itself where it is an alarm for me, that if I have to probably assimilate, comprehend, and put on paper more than 10 points, more than 8 points, 9 points, 10 points, that is an alarm for me. And that is where I decide personally that ये मैं नहीं बना रहा हूँ, probably घर जाने के बाद बनाऊंगा. I'll probably feel very good after solving this question, but not fit for being solved in the paper. This is
I'll feel very good because I did not solve it in the paper.
correct.
Not
So
otherwise. Ravi, Ravi, just to add to what you said, my indicator is if the statements you said set number 4, the statements were at multiple pointers, and I will not even go to pointers. I'll say each statement was 4 to 5 lines long. A 3-line, 4-line, 5-line statement means it will have multiple pieces of information, and I'll not be able to use it directly into the table, and can be confusing. And that is what I would want to avoid. Yeah, Jijo, back to you.
So what I want to say is, see, there is this tendency. So, from a preparation point of view. So, what Ravi is discussing in terms of what you have to do in the test. I think once a test is done, you better do the last one also.
Yes.
I'll tell you the reason. Because once upon a time, when CAT was a 3-hour paper, it seems once upon a time, they had given 8 passages. So, 8 sets to be done in, I think if you do 3 sets, I believe that you will get good percentile, no? During that.
3 sets would have been 95%, Jijo.
Let's take 95.
97.
95, 95% लेते हैं देते हैं. 3 sets would have given 3 set. Please understand, I had 8 sets. I could reject 5 and pick 3 from there. In CAT 2020, when it became 40 minutes paper, rightfully they gave 5 sets, and I have to pick 2 sets. So therefore, I could have rejected 3. But now what they did last year, for whatever is the reason, you are only given 4 sets. And you are actually having to solve 2, maybe in some cases 2.5 sets. Therefore, there is no way you can sit at this point in time and say that there will be some kind of data set that I will not prepare. Set theory I will not do, or arrangement question I will not do, data interpretation I will not do. There is no way. The issue that is happening is that, for example, today in this paper the bar graph was easy. Tomorrow the paper bar graph may be difficult. Today, for example, that last one set was contract, but tomorrow that could be the easy one. So it is absolutely important that there is no way in your mind that you're thinking that from a preparation point of view, I'm going to miss out or not do. You have to look at this. And let me also tell you this. Uh, 2 questions in the 4 set could be done with without thinking. Yes. The other stuff that I would also, I think I lost my thought. Other thing is that please understand, 66% of the CAT paper, which is BRC and DLR, does not test knowledge. It is full comprehension. One is reading comprehension, other is data comprehension. So, and therefore today what is happening that you must look at every mock test, sit with every single sets, do it again, keep an offer, come back and do it again. Every single CAT paper pass from 2017 onwards, every single set, you have to master it. And then this is an advice that I would want to give all of you. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, just to add to what Jijo has said, after the paper, go through all the sets, identify what makes a set easy, medium, or difficult, so that you are able to improve your selection and solve the sets again. And the difficult sets are something you solve not on that day itself, but you keep coming back to it after every 3-4 days, or at least once a week. Because each of these difficult sets are the ones which are going to be your speed breakers in the paper. And if you have done them multiple times, the process, the method, the choices become an integral part of you and you will be able to handle them much better in the paper. I'm not saying the same set will come, but the concept can be same and you will get an exposure to a kind of set which you will otherwise miss out on. Okay, so repeating or revising is extremely important at this point of time. All 4 sets to be done after the paper, and as you just said, 2017 to 20 papers each set you should be, let's say you should memorize it almost by doing them again and again and again.
In fact, the same logic, Jijo, what you're saying is extended to quant also. Because we keep saying that 50% of the paper is arithmetic, another 25% is algebra, another 10%, another 15 to 20% is geometry. People have the tendency of completely leaving out modern math and numbers. But see, please understand, while you are preparing, you have got to prepare for all 5 sections alike, all 5 areas alike. But while choosing to solve what kind of questions to solve in the paper, you can make that choice in the paper. You don't get to make that choice outside the paper कि कौन से question करने हैं कौन से नहीं करने हैं, right? Because
Yeah.
there is a possibility tomorrow morning CAT comes up with the paper in CAT 2022. If there are 10 questions from geometry, you and I will be helpless if you leave geometry by the logic, by that logic. So you have got to cover basics at least in all the all the types of questions that are there. While practicing, you have got to do everything. While in the exam, you either select or reject a question. So let's
Okay.
move on to the
I think this will be
I think I want to address. I want to just address this one question. In the first set, graph was not clear exactly. I couldn't figure out the values. A graph like this in only in RealCAD. Yes, graphs like this are in CAD. And Saurabh, you should have used your rough sheet as a scale. Okay. So wherever you have graphs like that in the first set where you are not sure what is the value, take your rough sheet, use it as a scale, and put it on the screen so that you can read the value from the x-axis or y-axis as the case might be. Okay. Yes, Ravi, back to you.
I think this
So we go.
conversation about DLR is what we're going to have after every mock. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Every time everyone will say this stuff. GP will say what nonsense. It was easy. I think this is
No,
what
there
is
are
going
two
to happen.
sets. See, sorry, Jijo. Set 1, set 2, set 3, doable. Set 4, you should not be touching with a barge pole during the paper. After the paper, you have to do it perfectly fine. But during the paper, if you have picked up set 1 to 3, it is not worth it. If you have picked up set 4, then you have made a terrible mistake.
I
Yes.
think it is also true that you don't need to actually find the absolute values. I think the table below would have helped you figure out कि values क्या होंगे. Once you have figured out A का कितना होगा, 35 kind of stuff, you can use that as a measure. A का value itself is a measure for figuring out because every value will be in multiples of 5 typically.
Ah.
So moving to the
Just before we start with QA, one small announcement to everyone. I don't know how many of you are subscribed to the channel. Please subscribe now. Because now basically what we have decided is that every Monday, GP will come and give his jugad. Every Wednesday at 10 p.m. in our channel, Arx will come and give his advice. Every Thursday, Ravi Teja will come and teach maths. And every Friday at 10 o'clock, I'll be there discussing verbal. So for you to get, we can't keep on sharing this happening. So subscribe, hit notification. If you have not subscribed, anyone watching, subscribe now so that you can watch. So in this journey, while you're obviously preparing with your teacher at your center, you also get the support from us, and that will add a lot of value to preparation. So you're going to meet us every week from today till the day of the cat, once in the channel. Okay, over to you.
Okay, so moving to the quantitative ability section. If you look at the scores, it was more or less similar to CAT 2021, and it lied in between. If you look at the percentiles and scores, it was lying in between. This 27 lies in between this 24 and 29. This 33 is almost there. This 38 is lying in between 20 and 21, and this 42 again is lying in between that. So more or less, I can say that the level of difficulty of the paper was more or less reflective of what CAT is, more or less reflective of what CAT is. But what people would have enjoyed, why have 99? Why have people scored more in this particular mock? I have a theory for that. Let us see if that is true or not. Because when we arranged the questions, there was a point, question 46 to 52 almost. All these questions were arithmetic. Most of these questions were probably arithmetic, and this is not going to happen with you in the CAT. We
Ravi,
just
Ravi,
wanted
I
to
wish you had put
know.
Ravi, I wish you had put these questions in the end.
Yeah. So if you can see that higher number of attempts are there in this area, because most people go with a notion कि बहुत arithmetic करना है. And if you look at the very first question, the number of attempts is very less for the percentage of attempts is very less for the first question because it was logarithm. So it was an experiment that we did. So keeping more or less all of these questions was arithmetic. One or two questions in between was probably geometry where the attempt has dipped. And I am, to be honest, I am disheartened till date by looking at this कि लोग सिर्फ arithmetic ही attempt करते हैं. I think there were questions of this question of algebra and this question of algebra were absolute sitters. In fact, if you look at question 66, GP sir, it was that question. X minus 10 power 20 plus mod of y minus 30 power 96, 196, something like that. This 20, what is the area under the graph? It is that question. I think people missed out on. This is similar to mod of x plus mod of y is 20. And that was a sitter of a question, absolute sitter. I think most of you missed out on that. But what is true for this graph is more or less, if you look at the number of greens that are there, if you look at the number of greens that are there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, at least 9 questions were in the range of easy to doable. At least 9 questions were in the range of easy to doable. And what is good about these questions is that if you look at the average attempt rate at these questions, typically the first 5 questions that were there, arithmetic group, people attempted that. And after that, even a question like this, which had probably the highest accuracy rate, people did not attempt and missed out on that. So when you go back and analyze your mock, what you need to first look at is what are the questions that you got right. Is there a better way of solving that question, first of all? And when you go back again, you have to look at what are the questions. If you look at the questions analysis section of the mock analysis, in the questions analysis, you will be able to figure out what are the questions with high attempt rate and high accuracy rate, and probably you missed out on. Right? Those are the questions that are solved by Janta. You don't need to be Janta to be acing CAT. You need to be better than Janta. So whatever is being solved by Janta, utna to karna hi hai. Whatever is, you need to solve 1 or 2 questions extra to land in that 99, 95 to 99 belt in quant. Jip sir?
Yeah, Ravi, absolutely fine. Again, the thing would be while people have done these arithmetic group questions, the first out of the first 10, they have done about 7-8 questions. Have they been able to use Jugaad out there or not? And have they been able to pick out things? I remember one of that questions that had said that shoe and what was that? That
Shoe and
shoe and
socks?
sock. Yeah, that one is priced 12 times and there's a profit of 20, and one and the item which you need to find the selling price, it has a profit of 10%.
Correct.
Right? If it has a profit of 10%, that means
Multiple
selling
of
price
11.
has to be 1.1 times, or your answer has to be a multiple of 11. Okay, and
Only
then
7.
once you and not only that, that answer choice upon 1.1 should be a multiple of 12. Yeah, absolutely right. So have you been able to do those kind of things or not? What Ravi just said about question 66, that again is a jugaad. You should be able to visualize and shift the center to 0, 0 rather than that those stupid numbers. Okay, so to me that would be critical. If you have solved these questions just by writing down and solving the complete equation, not a bad start. But now, as Ravi said, you need to look at each of these questions. See, okay, was there a better way of doing it? Could I have done this question orally? Even that question, one question before that, the shoes and socks question. So one of the rules of Jugaad is that the most beautiful number is the answer. Just go to that question. Ravi, do you have the question paper with you?
Just a second. Let me.
Just see if you can share that question paper.
Yeah,
One
I'll try it.
question before the shoes and socks wala jo hai.
Yes.
Okay. Because mathematically, again, that can still be done. I'm not saying it cannot be done. Yash says could not reach more than question 60. Yash, that means you have been solving everything and you are not using Jugaad at all, and you are doing the paper the way you did your school exams.
The order of question is your choice. I think you can't let the question setter decide on what order you're going to solve. What question pick you can't reach question number 60 is because you got stuck somewhere else.
Hmm. Okay. Mila Ravi?
मिल गया sir. Just a second.
Acha, chalo. I just want to pick up on that one or two questions. One you have already talked about. Okay. And there are other questions also.
This one.
So let me just, yeah, this one. Okay. This is strictly speaking an oral question. Strictly speaking, this is an oral question. And if you have solved it using saying that let the volume of the glass be X or something, then you have wasted a lot of time. Okay. In any case, look at these numbers. Which is the most beautiful number out of these, Ravi or Jijo? Anyone? Yeah, that has to be the answer.
What is
So you
this?
work backwards. In this question, I would have expected students to say, okay, let me start checking with the choice 800 if it's the answer. That means the original volume has to be 1600. And
Okay.
and what is the answer then? The other way or simply could have been just take the average of these four numbers 40%, 58, 65, 89 because these are same volumes. So you are talking about 63%. 63% of the total volume is equal to water and 50% is taken away, so you are left with 13%. 13% is equal to 208. That again would give you the answer. Okay, okay, so total 60% and then 800 is the answer. Okay, but to my basic point is, Ravi, if you just go to the next question also, I think इसके अगला वाला ही था ना.
Hey, इसमें एक और चीज है 89% of none of these will be an integer. So 800 straight answer
हाँ
था.
हाँ एकदम ठीक है. So वो जो चीज आती है ना, most beautiful number, yeah Ravi, pair of shoes cost 12 times the pair of socks. First line. Okay, and then look at what we need to find selling price of pair of shoes.
10% profit.
10% on shoes is the profit and selling price of the pair of shoes. So it has to be a multiple of 1.1 or 11. Only 792. And if you want to be sure, 792 upon 1.1 will be 720. And 720 is a multiple of 12. That has to be the answer. Don't worry about anything else. Now, if you have done these, now one could say there's a jugaad. To me, this is absolute common sense and using the information given in the question and the choices. No one stops you from saying, let me look at the choices. Any choice that is a multiple of 1.1 is likely to be the answer. Okay? So even if you are not 100% sure, at least that becomes your good starting point to get to the answer. Okay? Yeah. Last question, we have already talked about. There are a few other questions, but I think rather than going to specific questions, because we'll be discussing them as we go along, rather I'll be making that Jugaad video. Ravi, but any specific question you want to talk about in terms of Jugaad, you can pick up.
Yeah, this was the question that looked frightening and people did not attempt.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, this is mod of x plus mod of y is 20.
You'll have to explain to students why is it the same.
Why it is the same? Because we are shifting the axis to
Hmm.
this origin becomes 10 power 20 and 30 power 196.
Yeah,
And then it becomes mod of x plus mod of y is 20.
yeah.
So once you get to that point, I think it is almost a sitter. X plus y is 20. एक triangle
Yeah.
बना लो यहाँ पे and you have your answer.
Hmm.
In fact, there were few other questions
ये
also.
ये भी था, पिछला वाला भी एक मिनट
कौन सा?
पीछे एक था कोई, एक मिनट है तो ठीक है, that's okay. We'll look at last date should again not be a problem. Okay. So to me what Yash has written, I think Yash, this is what you need to look at. Where did you get stuck? Which questions? And if you look at the three mocks, you'll find there's a pattern and you'll find that there are few questions which you invariably get stuck in. Maybe because of overconfidence, Maybe because of some other issue you got stuck with because of your ego, that I'm not going to leave it. Okay? But that is something that you definitely need to avoid for the future papers. Sanchit is asking a question. Let me address that. Sanchit, there cannot be a Jugaad solution for every question. Let's assume you'll get Jugaad solutions for about 1/3 of the question. So out of the 22 or 7, 8, maybe 10 questions, there will be Jugaad. So 1/3 to 40% is what you could look at. And to my basic point is Jugaad is good enough to get you a 90 percentile, if not more. And if you do a couple of questions yourself, you will be at 99%. खुद कुछ भी तो करोगे ना, या सब मैं कराऊंगा. Yeah, Sanchit, it will be given for every mock. I will create Jugaad solutions. So whether it is 7, 10, 12, 14, depends on the paper. But yes, on an average, you get 8 to 10 questions in Jugaad solution format for every paper.
Ritam, DILR and QA solutions have been recorded. They are in the process of getting uploaded. Most of the solutions, mostly all the solutions, should be uploaded by tomorrow, first half.
Okay, so let me pick. Somebody's asking about STAR program. Let me just. I think we can pick some questions. No, now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll stop sharing the screen. Let's.
And there is Neha Sharma's question, 8:25 p.m. Yeah, that one. So the CAT STAR program is a simple program which says that we, the people that you see on the screen, will help those people who want to help themselves. So if someone is taking the CAT regularly, all the mock tests regularly, all those students together will be clubbed in one group, and then we will interact. We'll help you with the process. So it's a group of people who are very serious. So if you're not taking the CAT mock, then you're not serious about CAT. So if you are whatever be the reason, so you're not serious. So if you're serious, we just get together, and then we'll help you in the process. This will happen probably in August and Septemberish to help you with the last push.
Look at this, sir. Saurav is saying, I'm not good in geometry, but attempted a few questions and they were easy and I got them right. This is what we have been saying from the very first mock. ये ऐसा होता है. Only because we have done arithmetic doesn't mean that arithmetic के सारे questions will be easy in the paper. Some questions of geometry, if you especially look at the last 3 years of CAT and you look at any question of geometry from the last 3 years of CAT, all of them were common sense based questions based on concepts that you have done in class 8 and 9.
Sir, I'm equally bad in all sections. How do I get a 99 percentile? I think that's the next question.
Arya.
Yeah. I'm equally bad in all sections. How should I get 99 percentile? First of all, ignore the first part of the statement. Whether you're equally bad, equally good, irrelevant. Okay. Let's look at the second part. 99 percentile is about what? You getting about close to about 100 marks, which is about 33 questions out of the 66 questions. So at this point in time, what you have to look at, you've got 3 sections, right? So start preparing for each of these sections and work towards it, and you will get 99 percentile. I was talking to this girl a couple of days ago. I think her video will be up tomorrow. It'll be her story is amazing. So watch out for her video. Her name is Jafrin. I have her video. She's got into IIM Calcutta. I was speaking to her, and she said that she started with 3 percentile in the first mock. This was her answer, 3 percentile. She took the first mock. He's engineer. Okay. Engineer. She have 3 percentile in mock and DLR some obscene number. Her BARC was okay, some 40, 50 percentile. Yeah. And then what she did next was she sat and prepared, said, I will complete the syllabus. And she sat for 3 months and prepared syllabus. Then she talked to GP. GP gave her I'm saying metaphorically, figuratively. What are you doing? And then they asked her to took the test, and what she says, the GP, he spoke to GP and they analyzed and say that you're conceptually weak. What she said was, I had to learn once again. And they were saying the first 3 months was wasted. So she had 7 months. She started preparing last year around May. So she kind of had 7 months. First 3 months, no mocks, wasted. So she actually prepared the last 3 months. So if she can move from 3 percentile, eventually I don't know what percent. I think she cleared the cutoff.
I am Calcutta, so she would be at least 99.3, 99.4.
She's NCOBC, so she got 97 percentile overall.
Okay. Okay.
But I think that she would get probably more than 90 percentile. I think moving from 3 percentile to that. Okay, so that's the story. So just don't bother. Okay,
Mhm. Mhm.
what should I read? Okay, I think we got a lot. But any update on BRC 1000 course? Okay, no update. Don't put it up.
How to
How
eliminate
to
timer fear? Generally, I am able to do questions if timer isn't there, but giving mocks, I fear much and not able to solve questions. Kindly let me know how I can overcome it.
Just put
my
a sticker on top of the timer so that you can't see the timer.
you can hide the timer in the CAD, no?
You
I'm
you
not
can
sure.
open the question paper. If you open the question paper, the timer get automatically hidden.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So
So on the top
other
right corner, there is जहाँ पे calculator का button है, right next to it, you will see a button which will say view question paper. Click on that, and a PDF kind of a thing will open, and the timer will get hidden. So
second
you
of
won't
all,
have any clue
uh,
how much time is being lapsed.
so Suraj, whether there's a timer or non timer, time moves. So I think the timer is creating an illusion in front of you. My suggestion would be to make timer your friend. For instance, you can, for example, there are 40 minutes, right? You say that you have rough guidelines in terms of what you want to achieve in the first 20 minutes. Just rough guidelines. I'll probably in the middle of the third paragraph. I'll probably in the middle of the rough guidelines. So therefore, when you look at the timer, currently what is happening, you look at the timer, oh, I have only this much time left. So change the conversation with the timer, right? So you create sort of 15 minutes, next 15 minutes, next 15 minutes, next 15 minutes. I have these broad sort of guidelines to change the conversation. When you look at them, okay, I've got a lot of time, no issues, I'm there. So that could uh, that could handle that sort of a pressure here.
In fact, Kuldeep has given one possible solution. The topic tests are time tests. You keep taking those time tests when you are practicing. If you practice with a timer, then more or less you will overcome that fear in no time.
Does scores in mock matter for cat star? Okay, sorry. How to select the question in DLR to start with today? I somehow chose lengthy one. I think but the GPU had a we didn't discuss that. Okay, in the video है ना एक आपका LRDI का नहीं.
अभी जो है नहीं we for this batch for CAT 22 kids we have not done it as yet. So I think
Okay,
we'll
okay.
do that. We'll do that. But the critical thing is when you say how to select questions in DILR, I would say start by selecting the set, not the question. Okay. And so Himanshu, you have done 3 papers so far, 12 sets. My suggestion would be solve all 12 sets. In each set, once you have solved, you know whether it is easy, medium, or difficult. Now look at each of these set. You say this is easy. What makes it easy? What is the information given? What about the question and the choices? Similarly, if it's a difficult, what makes it difficult? What is it I should? How is it I should have been able to identify this is difficult? So look at these 12 sets. They will give you rules which you can use for yourself. Okay. I'll be doing a separate session as we go along as to how to choose a set. But that is a good starting point because that is what you'll need to do after every paper.
And Himanshu, if you find out that the set is lengthy, if you have figured out that the set is lengthy after reading it for 4 minutes or 5 minutes, it is still you still have time to leave that question from there. If you are able to realize that in the first 3 4 5 minutes, you still have time to leave that question from there and go to some other question. The other way to look at around this problem is that even if it is lengthy, kitna lengthy hoga? At max, you will probably take 15 to 20 minutes to solve it. Take it. You still have 20 minutes to go in the paper. Solve one more set. You come out with 10 questions. Your game. Rahul, you can pick your call and your phone and call me up, buddy.
Anything?
Neha has one last question. Jijo, do marks matter for cat star? If yes, what is the minimum requirement?
No. Marks doesn't matter. So marks for the mock is not important at this point in time. No, the fact that we are fighting, that is important. So all I need to look at is I'll just look at one number. How many mocks have you taken? Prime and CDC. based on that, I will pick the kids into the mentorship. It doesn't matter what program, so long as you're taking the mock test regularly, then we'll hit the mentorship. So keep taking the mock test. That's all.
वन थिंग टू ऐड हियर ऐड ओवर हियर जीजो, ऐसा नहीं कि मॉक स्टार्ट किया सबमिट कर दिया टू गेट इनटू द कैट स्टार ग्रुप. हमारे पास टाइम का भी एनालिसिस होता है. आई विल ओनली टेक दोस पीपल हु हैव स्पेंट 120 मिनट्स इन फ्रंट ऑफ द स्क्रीन इन ईच ऑफ द मॉक. All right, so I think that answers more or less all of the queries that are there. Guys, we understand that you have a lot of queries about VRC 1000 ka launch date, DILR 1000 ka launch date, and Quant 1000 ka launch date. We will come up with those courses latest by the end of June. In fact, VRC 1000 is almost ready to get launched, and we are trying to get it launched in the next 1 week itself. So QA 1000 and DILR 1000 also, you will get updates most probably by the end of this month itself about when is it going to be launched. We will do the courses for at least 6 months this year.
Ravi, I think this is one question that we should just address.
Yeah.
The expert topic test of VRC in CL portal, can we expect that difficulty in CAT? No. Expert is going to be more difficult than what you get in CAT.
No.
Okay, so CAT is not a very difficult paper. These difficult questions are there to help you practice, because not more than 15% of the questions will be of the level of difficulty of expert. Okay, so they are meant for those who are already doing 15, 16 out of 22 questions in CAT. They are not meant for those who are doing 5 questions in CAT right now. So your focus right now should be to make sure you are thorough with level 1 and level 2 topics, level 1 and level 2 in terms of degree of difficulty. Don't worry about expert or level 3.
Probably in a paper like that, you can expect that level of questions in the.
No, so even in that is not that high.
Not that
It's like,
difficult.
only thing
Then
that
I'll
options
say-
options are a little confusing. The passages are not.
Yeah. All right.
In fact, Ravi, I've always felt that ZAT English is easier than CAT English.
Because you have a lot of
At
time.
least for me. Yeah, you have time. You don't have to rush through it. You can take your time, understand, and move on and mark the answer and then move on. Yeah. So to me, it is always going. My preference personally always has been ZAT in terms of the English section.
All right, so that's all, guys. Again, to remind, please like our videos and subscribe to our channel. For all you know, for all the content that is up for grabs in the next 4 months, coming 4 months, we have planned every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We'll be coming with academic content to you, and I think that will be a very good supplement to whatever or however you are preparing, wherever you are preparing. So
Yeah,
please like the video and subscribe to our channel, and we'll keep helping you with whatever possible content we can. Thank you.
Okay, bye. All the best.